Hi, I'm Lola Diawari, artist, goldsmith, all-around lover of shiny things. Project Random is an Art Rubric initiative. It is supported by the Law Union and Rock Insurance PLC. Music was created by Christopher Ogwehi and recorded at the Art Rubric Studios, Lagos, Nigeria.
This is Project Random, and with me I have the Ideas Addict. I'm not sure if he wants to introduce himself using his full name. So would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hello everybody. My name is Harrison, aka Person Picking, aka Your Baby's Mine, aka I talk to your baby once it is finished, aka One Kiss and it's over, aka the Headmaster. Ask around, because ask around.
Wow, okay. So we've done the introduction, and today we're going to be more retrospective. We're going to talk about crime today. Last week we talked about a myth. This week it's crime. We are going to talk about a certain somebody that terrorized Nigeria in, well, not exactly Nigeria, more like the Edo part of Nigeria in the 1970s.
Yeah.
His name is Lawrence Anini.
I'm catching cold.
There are people in this world, or there are people in Nigeria that even that name still strikes fear in their heart.
Including me.
Anini was born sometime in 1960. The date is unclear because, one, he wasn't very well learned, and two, there is no record of his birth. There's no birth certificate that shows when exactly he was born, but there is a documented proof that he died in 1987.
Yeah.
And sometime in 1960, Anini was born in a village just 20 miles outside Benin City, now present-day Edo State, and he was called the Law, or called Ovigbo. I don't know, Ovigbo. What is that? I don't know how to pronounce it. Please, if I do not pronounce it well, I'm going to murder a lot of names. I will murder a lot of names on this show. I am not a professional. I'm just telling you, I am not a professional. So, just if I murder the names, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Don't be angry with me. So it's called Ovibigo.
Ovibigo.
And he was the son of another name. Anyways, he was son of a mother that had two daughters, two sisters. He had two sisters. Yeah. His father died when he was a young boy, and this brought him to Benin, where he was admitted in a primary school. He later decided, this is not for me. Well, basically, I think he started exhibiting trancy behavior around that time.
Criminal tendencies.
And right after that, he started a secondary school, and then dropped out of school, started at a local mechanics workshop. And this was around 1976. Then he started work as a lorry driver. Some say he was a taxi driver, but not particularly sure about that. After his boss fired him, in those days they called them master. I don't know if they still do that.
Yeah, obviously.
They still call them master.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Anyways, they fired him, and then he slowly transformed into a leader of the local motor park. So you know what? You know those Agberu that you find in Lagos car parks?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they started their business from. That's where they started. That's where the idea came from.
But funny enough, the trend has not even died.
The trend has not died. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's where it started. That's where it started. Following the sudden overthrow of politicians in 1980, this was not far from the falling out from the Civil War.
Yeah.
People were still raw from the war, and
they hadn't
healed. There was still guns around, there's still fear, there was still this unrest, and
there's still hatred.
And there's still hatred between tribes. And the tribes that we're talking about here, just in case you're not a Nigerian and you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa, those are the major tribes in Nigeria.
They are those and the Benin caught in between the crossfire.
Yeah, they are in between the tribes. Smaller tribes, minority groups, but those are the major tribes in Nigeria. In 1984, the Buhari regime, funny enough, that was the year I was born. Funny enough, and now he's president again. Oh my God.
Change.
Anyways, Buhari regime banned politics in Nigeria. And now this very skilled driver who had criminal people at his beck and call, and he was doing a lot of bidding for criminal gangs and godfathers, discovered his penchant for armed robbery. Yeah, he found his talent, he found his calling in life. He decided to start his own gang, and this included Monday Osumbo, Friday Ofege, Henry Eponwa, Enweka, and Alaji ZZ or Zege Zege. Wow. Anyways.
Look at guy name.
Zege. Oh my God. Anyways, wasn't an Alaji on top again. Zege. Wow. Zege apparently was never captured, but they all started out as carjackers, bus robbers, and bank thieves. And they had pacts with the police. And when I mean police here, I mean corrupt police. I'm not saying that there aren't still corrupt police now, probably are more now, but they were highly corrupt police, and they basically paved the way for Anini to be successful in his raids and carjacking. The primary town in which he did his major robberies and operations were in Midwestern Nigeria.
Yeah,
Midwestern Nigeria. I think that's what they call it. Yeah. Which would be Edo, Benin area.
With a blend of Delta in it.
It was a blend of Delta. Early in 1986, 2 members of his gang were tried and prosecuted against an earlier under-the-table agreement with the police to destroy evidence against the gang members.
Yeah.
Anini got pissed off by this and thought he was betrayed by his friends in the police, and decided that he was going to go all out and attack everyone, regardless of whether you're police or you're not. He started this attack in August 1986, at a bank robbery. A police officer and some others were killed, and the same month, 2 police officers were shot at a barricade while trying to stop Anini's car. In the span of 3 months, he killed 9 police officers. Those were the amount of police officers he was even known to have killed. They could have been more, it could have been less. Obviously. So then he struck First Bank.
And took 2,000.
And then took 2,000 naira. You see, you have to understand that in 1986, 2,000 naira
was big money.
It was like the equivalent of probably 2 million, right? No, maybe like 200k. No, 200k.
I'm bad with my maths, but I know
it wasn't 2 million, but like 200,000. It was the equivalent of 200,000 naira.
No, at that point in time, the naira to the dollar were almost at par.
Yeah, this was 1986. Around that time, money was still quite. Yeah. I mean, you could buy a car for.
But you can't use 2,000 naira and convert it, right?
You can't use to buy fuel and fill your car now. You can't. I can't fill my.
400 to 1. What? 400 to $1.
Anyways, they left the scene with massive trail of blood, killed a lot of people. The number of people killed on that day is still not verified. Then in September 1986, same year, Anini and his gang snatched a Peugeot 504 from a certain Albert Otto, the driver of the Assistant Inspector of Police, Christopher Omeben. When they snatched the car, they killed the driver, then hid the body somewhere. At some point, 3 months later, the skeleton of the driver was spotted 6 kilometers away from Benin, along the Benin-Agbo highway. A day after the attack, Anini, operating a Passat car believed to have been stolen, also effected the snatching of another Peugeot 504 car near the former Fedeco office in Benin. 2 days later, Anini's men killed 2 policemen in, oh my God, one area of the state. You need to see the name that I was supposed to.
Pronounce the name.
Okay, fine.
Our Edo brothers will understand.
Okay, fine.
Una name be like a person they carry weight with mouth.
What the hell?
Or one.
No, he who won. Local government of the state. Still in that month, 3 different robbery attacks, all pointing to Anini's involvement took place. Yeah. And in all that, the police were basically running around chasing their tails because Anini was always one step ahead. Still the same state, in the same local government area that I just pronounced very badly. Yeah. He killed 2 other policemen. And I think this was the point where it was like, Buhari had gotten up to here with this guy. Like, why can't we catch this guy? And in that same month, he robbed 3 other places. A day after one of the operations, he visited a village near Benin and threw wads of naira in the air.
Robin Hood.
For free, for people to pick up in the market. Like, this was the height. So in 4 months, he made everybody really scared of traveling, of visiting a bank, using the bank to make transactions,
Carrying of money,
everything. He described he even wrote a letter to the media houses to taunt the police, claiming to be Robin Hood. And
you could not even buy a new car that time, so you could just a fear.
Okay, I'm sorry, I made a mistake saying that it was Buhari that was president at that particular point in time. No, it was Babangida that was president, and Babangida was like, what is the way? How can we get this guy off the map? How can we catch him? And the more they searched for him, the more elusive he was. Eventually, Inspector General of Police Etem Yang was asked by General Babangida, my friend, where is Anini? Obviously, this led to a variety of more intensified searches.
Yeah.
They started, even newspapers were raving about him and calling everything. They were publishing stories titled Anini Challenge, Anini Saga, The Anini Factor, Lawrence Anini, Lawrence Anini, the man, the myth. Anini Jack the Ripper, Lawrence Anini Robin Hood in Bendel. Even the Guardian emphatically wrote in one of his reports, will they ever find Anini the law? The terror of Anini came to an end thanks to the courage of a superintendent of police, Kayode. Hona Heroro. Honan bloody hell. Honan Re. I think this is why they do not name these people name of streets. I don't care it. Honan Re Ruro. Kayode, superintendent of police, Honan and Ruro. If I pronounce that wrong, I am very sorry. Please don't be angry. December 3rd, 1986, yeah. Anini was caught at Benin City. Opposite a school in the company of 6 women. I don't know what he was doing with them. But
lounging.
Women. Bro was a nigga.
Lounging.
It was a tip-off from the locals, and the policemen went straight to the house and he was hiding in and apprehended him with resistance. Now, this is the best part of this story. You see, the superintendent led a 10-man team to the house, knocked on the door of the room, and Anini himself, clad in underpants, opened the door, and they asked, where is Anini? Dazed as he was caught off guard and without having an escape route, Anini tried to be smart and said, oh, Anini is under the bed in the inner room. As he said this, he made some moves to walk past the police and the policeman. In the process, he shoved and headbutted the police officer, but this was an exercise in futility. The superintendent reached for his gun, shot him in the ankle, and another policeman held him, put him in sitting position. Then they now proceeded to pump bullets into the same ankle, almost severing the ankle from his entire leg. So at this point, he's in so much pain, and he was in so much pain that he basically just, when they asked him, are you Anini? He replied, my brother, I will not deceive you. I won't tell you a lie. I am Anini. So at that particular point in time, it was caught. It was shown that he was not literate, could only communicate in pidgin English. He made a lot of revelations about his operations, like saying stuff like Osumbo was his deputy, and that Osumbo was actually the one that shot and wounded the former police boss of the state, Akagbosu. And then he also revealed that a certain George Iyamu, who was the most senior police officer shielding the police, would reveal police secrets to them and then give them logistic support such as arms to carry out robbery operation. And then because of the shots to his leg, the numerous shots to his leg, Anini had to get his legs amputated, one of his legs amputated. And so throughout the whole whole court trial, he was in a wheelchair. When his hideout was searched, they found a number of charms, and apparently one that he normally wore around his waist during operations, in quote. His charms were arrested. I say his charms were arrested. His charms were destroyed shortly after his arrest. He was later sentenced to death by Justice James Omoagigi. That's how I pronounce. And he was executed March 29th, 1987. Now, we're going to get Harrison to basically just, let's trash out this story.
Okay.
We've all heard the story, and for me, I think that around that, this was way before my time, before I was born, so I don't know much about it. I only know what I researched on, and basically it's just articles on articles saying the same thing about him being this outlaw that terrified the country at that particular point in time.
Yeah.
Okay, so proceed. What do you think?
Anini was a name that inspired fear. We growing up, we kids now, our folks, our parents and older folks, uncles and aunties used to tell us stories about notorious armed robbers back in them days. And Anini was one of them. Looking at factors that could have influenced the direction and the path in which he took in terms of him ending up being an armed robber, I think there are so many factors from my own point of view that played roles. Number one, education. He didn't finish school. At least you rightly said that he was communicating to the police in pidgin English. He was not really fluent.
Yeah.
And everything. Number two, upbringing. His popsy was not there. Maybe if he had a father figure to guide him, a good father figure, because there are also bad father figures that also mislead their kids. A good father figure to guide him, advise him, sit him down, talk to him. Maybe
he wouldn't have turned out
the way, because look at the age. Date of birth is not really confirmed, but it's put within the 1960s, and he died in 1987.
So he was in his 20s.
He was in his 20s, so he was quite young. So for a young chap that was even up to 30
and was able to rise up
and become that notorious, and imagine what the kind of experiences that he must have gone through as a young man, maybe in his teenage days, in his early 20s. So those factors, they're also put into consideration the society at that point in time, with corruption being
the foremost,
being the order of the day.
Yeah, but you see, corruption is still the order of the day now. Well, you don't have those kind of celebrity armed robbers these days.
But that doesn't mean they don't exist.
I'm not saying they don't. Well, I said we don't have
celebrity armed robbers.
Yeah, because he was a celebrity armed robber. Newspapers carried news about him. Radios spoke about him. He taunted the police, taunted the radio stations. Armed robbers have self-respect now. They don't do shit like that anymore.
Maybe they don't want publicity.
Yeah, true.
So it will keep the spotlight off them. Mm-hmm. But back to him, in terms of society corruption and everything, I'm also looking at it from this angle of maybe seeing how politicians, the early politicians in that days, were striking, if I'm allowed to use, internal deals in terms of all the supposed internal deals, the coke deals, certain.
When I mean coke, I mean coke the drink, not coke the drug.
Not the coke the drug. We're not going to call any names out here. Coke deals that led to certain prominent people in the Southwest fighting, certain deals, BMW deals.
Yeah, deals that would make you wonder,
let me be this.
You know? So
corruption, a certain politician, his rapper, they reach from Oyibo to Unila Gates.
We all know who that is.
His rapper, they reach from Oyibo to Unila Gates, and from Unila Gates, it's being the end of the rapper has been tied to the neck of a young chap. So,
you know, this kind of thing.
This kind of things then
just makes you want to. It makes you want to rip your hair out.
And that also led to the military even taking over the coup. So if the military could be that agitated about the high level of corruption in Nigeria, imagine the effect it will have on the common man.
True. But we are, like I said before, I think we are way more corrupt now, because now it's not just the leaders that are corrupt. Before it was just the leaders that were corrupt. Now everybody's corrupt.
Not necessarily the leaders were corrupt. because as you rightly said, he was in cahoots with the police.
Mm-hmm. The police. Yeah, but as far as I'm concerned, the police form the leaders, because if you have a gun, you're a leader.
But if they move their uniform, are they not the common man on the streets?
But they have a gun. They always still have the power. They have the higher hand.
But by the time they get back home, are they not like the common man?
But they still have a gun. They still have a gun. If they didn't have a gun, that's completely different. You get, but you see, the reason why they were so helpful to Anini was the fact that they had some measure of power. And when I mean some measure of power, I mean information, I mean guns, I mean logistics. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So they knew stuff. They knew how to get him out of tricky situations.
Well,
so that in itself is power. Information is power in this country. You should know that by now.
True.
Yeah. So if you have information, now back that up with a gun. What do you have? You have a very, very wrecked system.
But you know the funny thing is, looking at or reading through the Anini story, looking at the situation or reading through the Anini story and everything, it feels like we're just in a circle.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it,
Barry was in 1984. And he's back now.
President, that's number one. Number two, corrupt police.
Yeah. It's still the same thing.
It's still the same thing.
Now.
Touts becoming this
still the same thing.
Armor bands
and this
and everything.
Is more than 20, it's 30 years after.
30 years after. So indirectly, it's like, have we really moved forward as a country?
It's more than 30 years after. Oh my God.
1960.
No, I was thinking 1987 or 1986.
He started his operation
because we are
in the 80s.
Because we're in 2017. 2016. Oh my God.
Okay. He was executed in 87, Shebi. He must have started his operation, let's put it within maybe.
It was just 4 months too. His operation was 4 months too. Don't imagine, yo. It was 4 months. All that terrorism was 4 months. Yes.
So that's a whole year.
It was 4 months in 1986.
86.
4 months in 1986.
They do share weary.
That was the beginning and that was the end. By March 1987, he was dead.
He was dead.
It was caught in December.
November.
It was caught in December in 1986. He started his major operations, the killings and everything in August. No, he started before then. But this was when he started. He started before then, but 1986 was when he started to wreak terror. Do you understand?
It feels like we're in a cycle.
Yeah, we are in a cycle. I mean, we're in a cycle. We're just doing the same thing over and expecting different results.
And it's quite painful. Because even right now, that's if we don't go from fire to fire.
How so?
In terms of even more corrupt policemen, and this time, if you've never given them a good self, they are now trigger happy. That's number one. Number two, the touts, they have multiplied. Mm-hmm. Crime rates, well, we thank God that it has been quiet of late, but you know, these thugs, when they are pushed to the wall in terms of the thugs, when they are being pushed to the wall in terms of no money and stuff, they can get funny. I just feel that we're in a circle basically, and number one, corrupt politicians, corrupt policemen. Number two, touts, unemployment, illiteracy.
We're still having the same problems. We're still having the same problems that we had in 1987
and everything. Some women that they don't check their birth, do birth control and everything, give birth to so many kids, they can't take care of them, they can't feed them, and by the time some start rolling with bad gang for area, they don't become thugs. It goes hand in hand.
And those people and those kids are still responsible for those parents. Sure, you know.
When they get old.
Yes, not even just old. Right from the start, they're responsible for their parents. They'll tell them, your mates are making money. Why are you not making money? You think it's by selling pure water you're going to make money. Go and find how to make money. They actually encourage criminal behavior. So imagine that she tells you, if you don't sell so and so amount, or if you don't bring home 2,000 naira,
don't bother to come back
home. You know, even if you come back to the house, there's no food for you. So you can imagine growing up in that kind of environment. And if he actually does not sell the pure water or sell the coconut or the groundnut and doesn't get the 2,000 naira, where do you think he's going to get it from? It's 3 things: prostitution, robbery, or some sort of
extortion.
Or extortion, you get, or doing a certain favor for a certain person that he's not supposed to have done in the first place. So these are systems in which some of these people grow up in. You can't entirely blame them because poverty is a really terrible problem.
But the thing is, look at it, you say you can't blame them too, but the thing is, everybody's not getting it easy.
I know.
But we did not choose to follow the funny way.
True. Very true. Very, very true. But like I said, sometimes the choices that are put in front of you, I'm not trying to defend crime, but I'm just saying that the choices that are put in front of you sometimes are not the choices that they're not choices that present to you in such a way that there are other choices.
But as my godfather would say, if they give you 10 options, make an 11th.
Some people don't even have that reasoning. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so explain, why do you think it's worse? Society
is more corrupt now. The police are more corrupt now. The politicians. And the virus has been caused by the ordinary man on the streets.
You mean everybody's corrupt?
Everybody's prone to be corruption in this country, because for you to even get your passport done through the legal way can take you like 3 months, but if you're ready to grace the palm of somebody, it can take 4 hours. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I need the number of that guy. I need your number.
And okay, going to the educational sector and everything, you actually have to, in some certain institutions, you have to actually bribe your lecturer for you to pass.
Yeah, even though you're actually legitimately a smart person.
Whether in cash or in kind.
And if you don't pay or you don't give,
yeah. So back to the corruption. So it has been caught by the ordinary man on the streets. And it's, whether you want to admit it or not, it has caused a systematic decay of the institutions and structures in this country.
Yeah,
and educational health is everywhere, security is everywhere. And when such structures are not functional, when such institutions are not functional, the country can move forward.
Yeah.
So indirectly, we are in a loop.
I think we're even digressing. I mean, being in a loop means that you are going around circles. So you're going on. I think we're moved from the loop. We're now just digressing.
It's not getting funny anymore.
We're not just digressing.
It's not getting funny anymore.
So anyhow,
it's quite painful. It's quite painful.
So, do you honestly believe his jazz worked? I think I know the answer to that question. Because he died.
Well, maybe his jazz had expiry dates.
But no, he wasn't wearing it on the day. He was convorting with women at that particular point in time.
Bad guy.
But it's quite possible that women, that's why they say that, people that do jazz don't sleep with their wives. No, they don't sleep with their wives. If they're on their period, there must be demarcation. They can't touch such people. All those kind of things.
Knowledge.
I had this last upper week Sunday.
This is the first time I'm hearing this.
Really?
For real.
When you're in a certain cult or a certain group of certain people.
I need to join that. Is this your group?
Wait, no, I don't know about I'm not in the group. I am not in the group.
But how do you know?
I just know that there's certain cult.
What is the terms of membership?
I don't know. I'm a woman. So apparently, women are not allowed inside. It's just for men. And they can't convert with their wives. If they want to convert with their wives, they have to drink a certain thing. If they want to do so. So it's quite possible at that particular point in time, he was at his weakest. Do you get? Maybe God was just smiling on Coyote, the guy that I can't pronounce the surname.
Yeah. The policeman.
The policeman. God was just on his side, because if that guy was armed with his jazz and his guns, God knows how that could have turned out.
What I believe is, when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. Whether you're wearing your jazz or not, when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. I know of cases whereby excuse me. Okay. I know of cases whereby some popular thugs were still with their jazz on that particular day and they were still killed. So even if he was with his jazz or he was not with his jazz, if it was his time to go, maybe that was when the Lord has said, that's the end.
You're done.
You are done. I beg.
Brother.
Your 3 months of terror. Yeah, you don't do. Yeah, thank you. Kopo.
Anyways, so it has been very awesome having you on, Harrison.
Merci.
Thank you for coming.
Merci.
Thank you for participating.
Merci.
The handles to check us out on is that's DA Project Random on Twitter and Facebook. Project Random. Just search for Project Random. We have a group and a page, so you can join either one, but the group is better because you can converse with your other group members and discuss issues, give me topics, throw topics, stuff like that.
Follow,
so
interact.
Please follow,
interact,
meet new people. Don't do the no new friends shit. That's not cool.
And let's learn new things.
Yeah. So thank you for listening. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.